Good morning. Demolition is set to start on an iconic Ball State building. The master plan that is driving changes on Ball State's campus and how the original buildings will be remembered.
Plus, as temperatures rise, your spring allergies may be returning, and health experts say it's a little early for allergies this year. What is causing the change in the allergy season?
Plus, a rainy afternoon ahead today. Our weather team will time out how long rain will last and how much you can expect. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Alex Almanza.
And I'm Catherine Segal. Good Friday morning. I have to say, this warm weather has definitely been lifting my spirits, but hearing about rain, that makes me sad.
That is right. It's going to be a rainy one, but we'll definitely see about it.
And this week is Severe Weather Preparedness Week here in Indiana. That's a week where groups across the state come together to help educate people about different kinds of severe weather, like thunderstorms and tornadoes.
And the goal of the week is to help Hoosiers be more prepared to respond when severe weather hits. Our weather forecasters have been working on creating content all week to share about some severe weather topics. And of course, we'll be showing some of them this morning. But before we do that, let's kick it off with weather forecaster Maddie Johnson, who's explaining what groups are involved in Severe Weather Preparedness Week.
Severe Weather Preparedness Week runs from March 13th today all the way through until next Saturday, March 19th, and it's aimed at enhancing understanding of severe weather and flooding. It's aimed at helping people prepare for how to react before, during, and after severe weather and flooding events here in Indiana. Now, Severe Weather Preparedness Week in Indiana is spearheaded by the National Weather Service office in Indianapolis, but there's a lot of different people and organizations that are involved as well. We involve broadcast meteorologists, including us here at NewsLink Indiana. Also involved are emergency management departments, as well as federal organizations like the Indiana Department of Homeland Security and the Indiana Department of Education.
Thanks, Maddie. Now, people in Delaware County celebrated the 40th annual Farm Festival at the fairgrounds this week. The two-day event featured farm history, a corn maze, and even the chance to milk a cow. Now, we spoke with one of the longtime board members of the Farm Festival. She said her favorite part of the event is giving kids the chance to learn about farm life.
Exciting to see the children from the city get excited to see a tractor or a goat or milk a cow for the very first time, and teach them that they don't have to be afraid of the stuff, that it is very fun to get involved with. So hopefully when they grow up, they'll have an interest.
Well, you learn something every day. The Farm Festival happens every year at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. Of course, for more information about the next event, visit www.farmfestival.org.
And as the weather begins to warm up, construction is picking up again on Ball State's campus. The Brayton Clevenger building, which was part of the La Follette complex, will soon undergo the first phase of demolition.
Now, the demolitions are part of Ball State's master plan called Destination 2040 that began almost a decade ago. Now, I spoke with officials about the history of the complex and what changes will come after demolition is complete. The last remnants of La Follette are coming down. Brayton Clevenger, the section of the building that sits at North McKinley Avenue, will see Phase 1 of demolition in mid-May, which includes stripping the interior to its bare bones. After that, the teardown.
The actual demolition work is scheduled to be completed somewhere around August, September, and during this process of demolishing La Follette, we'll begin the process of reworking what you see behind us. And so there'll be a whole new green space here for students.
Built in 1966, the complex made up of 4 L-shaped buildings connected together to this day remains the largest student housing complex in Ball State history, with over 1,900 bed spaces. The complex was named after Robert R. La Follette, a former science professor at the university. Fast forward to 2017, the first wing of the complex was demolished to make way for the New North Dining Hall. Lowe says that the drive that leads to the cow path will be closed, but that a new route will be made for students to walk. There's some good news for future students in those plans. Residence halls currently without air conditioning are set to get renovations to include AC.
We're underway with renovating Cooper. So the Cooper Science Building, which is phase 3 of a process to build what was the Health Professions Building, the Foundational Science Building, and now renovate Cooper. We're going to actually demolish about 160,000 square feet of Cooper. There's always an active dynamic plan in place, and there's always a need, and that's our plan looking forward for the next 20 to 30 years.
Now, officials tell me that the names that were dedicated to each of the L-shaped buildings will live on in the new green space. They tell me a memorial space will be made with names of the dedicatees. Of course, that master plan that I mentioned earlier can be found on the Ball State website.
And people across the world put on their St. Patrick's Green yesterday to celebrate the March holiday, and here in Delaware County is no exception. Check out these photos the city of Muncie shared to their Facebook page. You can see Mayor Dan Ridenour participating in this year's St. Patrick's Day parade. The mayor passed out candy to children on the streets and even people going by in their cars. The parade started at the Muncie Central Fieldhouse and went through the downtown area. Muncie has been celebrating St. Patrick's Day with a downtown parade for more than 30 years. And aren't we lucky that we got 70-degree weather yesterday?
Yeah, looks can be deceiving. This morning starting out fine, but we're going to get some rain later. Hunter, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we're looking at a rain system that's going to come through later on this afternoon, but look at the current temperatures. It is 46 degrees in Kokomo, 46 in Muncie. And as you go farther south, it's a little bit warmer with 52 degrees in Bloomington. Now, as we look for the next 8 hours ahead, we're going to look at a steady trend in temperatures starting off at 56 degrees at 9 a.m. all the way to 66 at 2, where then we'll have some rain showers coming up. So what's all ahead that we're looking at? We're looking at some rain today, moving into thunderstorms tonight, a blustery Saturday with some winds and rain, and an increase in rain chances throughout the week ahead. I have more coming up in my forecast coming soon.
Thank you, Hunter. A fire engulfed a Walmart warehouse distribution center Wednesday in the town of Plainfield. Government officials said about 1,000 employees were at the facility when the fire started. Here we're seeing photos of the Indianapolis Fire Department. You can see the heavy smoke coming off the building Wednesday. Fire departments from around central Indiana helped fight the fire. The Plainfield Fire Chief said more than 180 firefighters worked around the building to put it out. Investigators are planning to get inside the building today. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Officials say no employees were injured in the fire.
Now, taking things over to the western part of the nation, severe droughts are continuing. Now, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the dry conditions aren't likely to let up anytime soon. The agency released its spring outlook yesterday. They're predicting a second year of prolonged drought in several western states, along with below average amounts of rain. Now, over the last short-term droughts have been rapidly expanding in the west. For this week, more than half of the lower 48 states are expected to have dry conditions.
Just ahead, with temperatures warming up, you may have noticed your allergies starting to return. Why experts say allergy season is getting an early start this year.
And that's after your weather now. Welcome back. The current time is 8:10 and you're taking a live look outside at campus. Beautiful morning, but It's going to change over the next few hours. We're going to get a little more wet.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Of course, a big part of being weather aware is knowing when to expect severe weather and how dangerous it's predicted to be. Here in the U.S., that's the job of the Storm Prediction Center, or the SPC.
When severe weather is predicted, the SPC releases an outlook where they rank the amount of risk different areas will face due to weather events. Lance Huffman explains the different numbers associated with risk and what they mean for you.
Now, the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine remained ineffective against infection and hospitalization during the Delta variant surge. A study found the single-shot vaccine was 76% effective overall in preventing COVID infection and 81% effective in preventing COVID-related hospitalizations. Now, it also found that the vaccine remained durable up to 180 days after getting the shot. Researchers collected and analyzed insurance claims data for more than 422,000 people who got the vaccine, compared them with 1.6 million people who did not get the vaccine. Now, the study is consistent with data from a trial used by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to issue emergency use authorization for the vaccine in late February 2021.
And with spring in the air, pollen is not far behind. Allergy seasons are predicted to start more than a month earlier and be much more intense in the future because of climate change, according to a new study. Dr. Sandra Hong, an allergist at Cleveland Clinic, says pollen season usually begins mid-February.
Our pollen seasons are lasting longer. We definitely have had a couple years where our allergies are the worst I can remember in the last 20 years.
Nature Communication says that by the end of the century, the higher pollen counts could begin as much as 40 days earlier because of global warming. Researchers also say annual pollen counts could climb up to 250%. That's why she says it's important to be aware of your allergies now when symptoms are starting. Look at pollen counts before going outdoors and keep your windows closed to avoid it coming into your home. If you know you suffer from allergies, consider using your medicine now.
I could sure use that medicine now.
Yeah.
I think when you were reading that story, I was about to sneeze.
Alex, I have to tell you, my allergies have already started, and I've started using eye drops, Zyrtec. That's all I do.
It's end times. Well, Ryan Hill, what do you have for us? I know we're getting weather regionally, but what about nationally? I know we're going to get a little bit of rain there.
Well, for starters, definitely. We're looking at the first day of spring starting tomorrow at 11:30. In the afternoon, well, in the middle of the day, really. So with these allergies, I got to tell you, it's definitely feeling like spring. Well, great to grab the coffee and open the eyes with you this morning. Let's take a look at how things look nationally. Right now, we're playing a little bit of spot the front. There's a low pressure system right by Kansas City that's going to be bringing some pretty interesting weather to the mid-south and portions just south of here. So given the fact that we've got that big contrast in temperature over that part of our nation, you can definitely tell a strong system is working its way through. And as a matter of fact, we do have some severe weather warning products as we step aside here and see that right behind me, you've got a little bit of a tornado watch that still remains in effect for portions of Mississippi, southern Alabama, even into portions of the Nolans area. Working our way down there, you can actually see it in better detail right here. You have a few flood advisories and warnings all along the Mississippi and other tributaries. Working our way into the backside of this storm, you can see right here, you've got an area of winter weather advisories and wind advisories, as the backside is not only loaded with moisture, but with some gusty winds. And then back over to the East Coast, you have an area of pretty foggy weather. Currently, that jet stream is a big deal in our forecast. Stopping it right here, it's going to feel like winter even though the first day of spring is tomorrow because of this trough of low pressure. Jet stream is the river of air that separates that colder air, the bluer colors, to the warmer air down to the south, and that's the river of air that directs storms, and storms form along that where the dips are. And as we watch, see what's going on right here, as we make our way into the first part of the week, big dip in the jet stream, but a nice ridge right here giving us some warmer temperatures. So Futurecast will definitely show what I'm talking about with that activity, some back-end moisture working its way through the Ohio Valley, and then we clear out as we get into our Sunday. Then, as we work our way through the rest of the week, we see things. You see the ridge of high pressure working its way into Texas. It's already at 76 degrees by the time we reach tomorrow. Kansas City even. Look at that. From 30s today to 60s tomorrow.
Definitely
unbelievable.
A roller coaster. It's like
I gotta tell you, this is the nature of things with the wavy jet stream. We get very active weather and wide swings in temperature, and it's going to continue to happen as we continue to get those lows all running along that wavy jet stream.
Right, but at least spring is kind of going on, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Very nice.
Thank you, Ryan. Now, just ahead, March Madness kicked off this week. Our sports team is breaking down the specifics of what they're expecting for their brackets this year.
That's after a message from Mints.
Riding the bus is an easy thing to do. Last year, we carried 60,000 riders from the Ball State area. 50,000 of those were students. Anywhere you want to go, Mitts will take you there.
Welcome back to Cardinal Weather. I'm Bryce Dimsevich.
And I'm Andy Newman, and obviously March, a huge month for sports fans and enthusiasts around the nation with March Madness and men's college basketball, and the tournament starting last night and yesterday afternoon. So Bryce, let's break down parts of the bracket, parts of the regions here. Let's go into the West.
Absolutely. Starting with the first game, Gonzaga versus Georgia State, the 16th seed. I don't think a lot of us really had any upsets here. Gonzaga winning handily.
It was very close, though,
for a little bit there,
yes.
But pulling away at the end, Gonzaga by 21. Very, very cool to see that. Now, Boise State versus Memphis, the next game, 8 and 9. Memphis pulling away there at the end, winning by 11, 64-53. Very nice to see that as well. Now, the first real big upset from this side of the bracket, UConn versus New Mexico State. New Mexico State pulling away at the end, winning by 7, 70-63.
Very surprising
and
there.
Yeah, it's going to be a good competition in the next round of 32 against Arkansas after they beat Vermont in a close game, 75-71. Now, the rest of the games for today in the West, we're going to see Alabama versus Notre Dame.
Go Irish.
Exactly. I think it's going to be very interesting. Texas Tech versus Montana State. Michigan State versus Davidson, and Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. A lot of interesting games here today. Now, moving it over to the South, what do we got there?
All right, and in the South, today we have Arizona going up against Wright State. I don't think there's going to be any surprise there. I have Arizona beating Wright State pretty handedly there. Then we have Seton Hall going up against TCU. And then I have an upset here with the next game. It's actually Houston versus UAB. And I have UAB beating Houston here and going on a little bit of a run.
Yeah.
And then we have Illinois versus Chattanooga. Don't have really any surprise there. Illinois beating them hopefully pretty handedly. And then yesterday's games, we had Colorado State defeating the Michigan Wolverines in the first game of the first round. And then Tennessee beating Longwood pretty easily by about 30. And then Ohio State hopefully playing Loyola Chicago, hopefully losing to them, as I picked them in my bracket there. And then we have Villanova playing Delaware, and I have Villanova winning that game pretty easily too. And then out of this side of the bracket, I have Arizona and Tennessee coming out, and Arizona winning it all.
Very nice. Now, switching it over to the east side, we're going to start with Baylor and Norfolk State. I don't think there was any doubt in our minds here. Baylor winning pretty handedly.
Absolutely not,
85-49.
Oh, yeah.
Not very close at all. And the next game below that, got North Carolina Marquette, which was kind of surprising for me.
Very much so, yeah.
North Carolina with a big blowout win, 95-63.
Crazy.
Very good showing from them. I like that game a lot. Now, St. Mary's versus Indiana. I think a lot of us expected it to be close.
Disappointing.
But in that second half, St. Mary's really just took it, winning 82-53.
Very disappointing.
And the Bruins versus the Zips, very close game.
Yes.
Winning out by 4 eventually, the Bruins did. Very, very close.
Ali got shut down there.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the bottom of that bracket, we got Murray State versus San Francisco. An overtime game, 92-87. Very competitive. It was very, very
Another wrong
interesting to
pick for
watch.
me.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then I think the upset of the day, St.
Biggest
Peter's
one.
versus Kentucky. Very, very impressive showing from St. Peter's. They shut down that Kentucky side. Very fun game to watch. And then to round out the East for today, Texas versus Virginia Tech. One of the more exciting games. And then Yale versus Purdue. Very cool. Now switching over to the Midwest, what do we got?
All right, we got first up, or last night was Kansas versus Texas Southern. Pretty easy game there. That was the last game of yesterday's games. Kansas winning pretty handedly. And then we have San Diego State versus Creighton. And San Diego State was leading most of the way, but Creighton coming out of nowhere in overtime and actually winning this game. And then we have Iowa and Richmond. This was the biggest upset of the day before the Kentucky game. And sadly, Iowa falling to Richmond. I had Iowa in the Final Four. Bad call by me. And we have Providence beating South Dakota State. LSU and Iowa State are playing today at 7:20.
Need Iowa State to win there.
Oh, yeah. And we have Wisconsin playing Colgate. And I have Colgate upsetting Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Not very high on the Badgers this year. And then USC playing Miami. And then Auburn playing Jacksonville State. And our guy, Zach Greer, actually has Jacksonville State winning. Very crazy.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, yeah. And back over to Hunter with weather.
Yeah, so currently our temperatures are looking a little bit mild right now. We're currently at 46 in Kokomo, 44 in Fort Wayne, where it's a little bit chilly, but as you go farther down south, it is 52 degrees in Bloomington. Now, as we look into today's forecast, we're going to look at some rain that will be coming in this afternoon, with temperatures being a high of 64 degrees. Now, it will get a little bit windier as the evening goes on, with 20 miles per hour wind gusts. Our current radar, it's pretty clear. As you see it, as the morning came in, we have some cloudy skies that are pushing through, which will be overcast throughout the day. Now, if you look in our southern viewing area, they're under a marginal risk for severe weather, which means that we could have hail, damaging winds, and we can't rule out a possible isolated tornado. But looking towards Muncie, we could just get probably some thunderstorms this evening. Looking at precision casts here, let's look at 9, 10, 11. It's going to be just cloudy. And then as you stop at 5 p.m., you can see that a heavy bound of rain will be coming through, in which, well, honestly, it might be good to watch the March Madness, in my opinion. And as you go throughout the evening, it'll have a little break in the rain, in which it will have just lingering showers throughout the Saturday morning. And then leading into Saturday evening, more rain and possibly some showers of snow, which personally I do not like. As we look into this weekend's forecast, wet and windy with cooler temperatures, 41 degrees for Saturday. And then Sunday we have a gradual warm up being 61 degrees with winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, as we look at for the next 6 to 10 days, you can see that the Midwest area will have above average temperatures and rain precipitation. So we're looking at a more of an active weather pattern as we go. But if you look into California area, we'll have below. Now looking to the 7-day forecast, Friday rain, Saturday colder temperatures with some breezy conditions. A gradual warm up Sunday, leading into Monday through Wednesday, we'll have a chance of having some showers and thunderstorms. So I would say it would be a pretty good time to watch the March Madness this weekend.
Yeah, and also keep an umbrella in that backpack because it's going to get a little bit...
I'm so sad it's going to be so rainy. I was really enjoying the warm weather we were having.
Yeah, but I think like you and I were talking about during the before the show, it's a compromise, you know?
Yeah.
Compromise for the good weather. Thank you so much, Hunter. But as we continue to share topics for Severe Weather Preparedness Week, Awareness Week, an important concept to understand is the difference between a weather watch and a weather warning.
A weather watch is issued when all the ingredients are there for severe weather to form. Nothing has started yet, but the changes are high. That's when experts recommend you need to be weather aware.
Now, a weather warning is issued when a severe weather occurrence has been spotted. Now, that's when you're supposed to take action. Ryan Hill explains what types of watches and warnings you may receive.
Indeed, a warning means to take action because it's about to happen in the next few minutes, sometimes about 20 or 30 minutes, or as little as 4 or 5. It could be right over you. So you need to know that that means imminent or occurring. and that you need to seek shelter when one is issued, especially in our most important, our biggest type of warning. Each of these warnings means a particularly significant threat is underway. A tornado warning means, actually, that it has been spotted it's been spotted by somebody's eyes, a storm spotter, or indicated on radar. Same thing with severe thunderstorm warnings. Hail, about quarter size, that's what we mean by 1 inch in diameter, 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and sometimes there's even rotation in that, so sometimes we can escalate to tornado warnings. And when it comes to flash flooding, you have a high rainfall rate, which could be leading to flooding that is about to happen or is happening, say in a low-lying area, such as a ditch or underpasses, rather. And then you could have rapid rises in rivers.
Thank you, Ryan, for that clarification. And in just a moment, we'll take a look at one last severe weather topic, the formation of tornadoes here in the Midwest.
And that's after a message from Mitz.
From the heart of Ball State to the heart of your community, NewsLink Indiana brings you local and state news you care about. We pride ourselves with giving you the most reliable news coverage, stories that affect you, linking you to the community each night on air and online. NewsLink Indiana, bringing news to the heart of your community.
Welcome back. Now, all morning we've been talking about different topics for Severe Weather Awareness Week. Here in Indiana, one of the biggest weather threats we face is the possibility of tornadoes.
Yeah, and we've talked about what happens when there is a tornado warning, but how do tornadoes form? Eric Segbor is here live in the studio this morning to break down the science behind tornado formation.
Thank you. So, yeah, we're in that season again. Tornadoes are about to form, and surely we may have a bit this year. But today I'm going to tell you about how they actually form. As you guys may have heard, maybe you guys seen that trail from Twister where you see that flying cow. You're wondering, is it anything like that? Well, you'll find out. Well, first, this begins with the storm formation. And usually storm formation, we have rising air that begins to rise from the ground and up into the air. And eventually after a while, let's say it's like a hot, steamy day, and there's a chance of storms. We will see that air begin to rise, and eventually we will see a cloud begin to form high up in the atmosphere. And eventually, as the air continues to rise, we will see this eventually evolve into a cumulonimbus cloud, which is known as a thunderstorm cloud, which indicates this potential for storms. And eventually, after a while, we'll see a downdraft, which we know as the rain begins to fall to the ground. Usually with storms, most storms, you just see the updraft going up into the cloud and then coming back down as that downdraft. But let's say we have a supercell. Supercells are known for dropping tornadoes. And with a supercell, they're known to cause the updraft to violently rotate. And as that begins to rotate, we'll be able to see this column of air begin to be focused narrowly in that small section. It will still be a downdraft of the rain, but there's going to be the updraft. And once that begins to rotate, we'll see our tornado begins to form. As rotation becomes focused in the area, we'll see dust swirls begin to form at the ground, indicating the tornado begin to form. And eventually, this begins to grow into the organization phase, where the cloud eventually begins to close in on the ground, which is known as the tornado, but it's not all the way there yet. But once you get to the mature stage, this is when the tornado is actually on the ground, and this is when we actually get our actual tornado. And usually they last for like a few minutes or so, but they don't usually last that long, at least for most tornadoes. And eventually we'll see the tornado continue to go on until we're at the shrinking stage where that tornado begins to fizzle out again, and then finally the end of the decay, signaling the end of our tornado.
Thanks, Eric. Very important information. Now, after more than 3 decades, an unreleased Prince album will soon see the light of day.
The late singer-songwriter recorded Camille in 1986, in which he portrayed a female alter ego named after the title. The record was shelved, although some bootlegs did make it to auction over the years. There are 8 songs on Camille, and all of them were put out on B-sides of singles and movie soundtracks. But this will be the first time they've been part of an official album.
I definitely remember his Super Bowl 41 halftime show. That was very memorable.
A new debut at a zoo in France is making double the trouble.
Now it's a pair of twin pandas. They made their public debut at the zoo for a few hours on Saturday. I'm probably going to botch these names, but it's Juan Lili and Yuan Dudu came out to visit in their habitat at the zoo near Paris. You can see them right there. And the twins are both female and they were born back in August. However, this is the first time that they've been by the public. The twins' parents are currently staying with them at the zoo in France. Once the twins are adults, their parents will return to China. Oh, that's so adorable. Well, definitely a wet one this week. But are we going to continue seeing that throughout?
Yeah, so we're going to look at more of an active weather pattern starting this weekend into the next week. But hey, we're going to look at some more warmer temperatures, hopefully, because I'm ready for some nice outdoor weather.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. That's all for Cardinal Weather for this morning. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next Friday. Have a great rest of your day and a fantastic weekend.